Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling confused, guilty, or drained, even though you did nothing wrong? That feeling isn't random. It's not weakness. It's a psychological reaction to emotional manipulation. Here's the shocking truth most people never realize. Manipulation doesn't start with control. It starts with comfort. The most dangerous manipulators don't shout, threaten, or dominate. They listen. They mirror you. They make you feel understood before slowly rewriting how you see yourself. And by the time you notice something feels off, you're already questioning your instincts. This is why intelligent, kind, self-aware people are often the easiest targets, not because they're naive, but because they lead with empathy. In this video, you're not going to learn how to control others. You're going to learn how control actually works, so it never works on you again. And the first sign is so subtle, you've probably ignored it your entire life. Emotional manipulation works by bending reality without breaking it. Nothing extreme happens at first. No obvious red flags. Just small moments that feel harmless. A joke that lands slightly wrong. A comment that makes you second-guess yourself. A reaction that feels colder than expected. When you bring it up, they say, "You're overthinking," or "You're too sensitive." That's not reassurance. That's the beginning of self-doubt. Your brain starts doing their job for them. You replay conversations. You adjust your tone. You explain yourself more. Notice the shift. They don't have to control you anymore, because you start controlling yourself. The manipulation isn't in what they do. It's in what it makes you do internally. And once your inner voice turns against you, they gain influence without force. But this is only the surface layer. The deeper tactic is far more unsettling. One of the most powerful tools manipulators use is inconsistency. Warm one day, distant the next, supportive, then suddenly critical. This emotional whiplash isn't accidental. Your brain is wired to seek patterns and stability. When someone becomes unpredictable, your focus narrows. You stop asking, "Is this healthy?" and start asking, "How do I get things back to how they were?" That's the trap. You chase the good version of them, believing it's the real one. Meanwhile, the bad moments get justified, minimized, or blamed on stress. This creates emotional dependency without commitment. They don't need to promise anything. Your hope does the work. And the longer this cycle continues, the harder it becomes to leave, because leaving feels like losing something precious. But there's a behavioral clue that exposes this pattern instantly. Watch how they respond when you set a boundary. Not the words, the emotion. Healthy people may be surprised or disappointed, but they adjust. Manipulators react differently. They punish. Maybe with silence. Maybe with guilt. Maybe by acting hurt so you feel cruel for protecting yourself. This trains you to associate boundaries with emotional pain. Over time, you stop setting them. You start pre-compromising. You think, "It's not worth the drama." And that's exactly the point. Boundaries threaten control. So control disguises itself as emotional consequence. This is why manipulation often looks like vulnerability. Tears. Sad stories. "After everything I've done for you." It feels wrong to say no. But discomfort is not danger. And confusing the two is how people lose themselves slowly. The next layer explains why smart people stay trapped. Manipulation thrives on your need to be fair, to be understanding, to see the good. Manipulators know this. They weaponize your values against you. They frame their behavior as misunderstood. They present themselves as victims of circumstances, trauma, or other people. So when you feel uneasy, you don't trust the feeling. You analyze it. You empathize with them instead of listening to yourself. This creates a dangerous imbalance. Their emotions become urgent, while yours become negotiable. Over time, your needs shrink. Your voice softens. You start asking for permission to feel normal things like anger or disappointment. And the scariest part, from the outside, nothing looks wrong. But inside, you feel smaller. That shrinking sensation is not accidental. It's a signal. And once you understand it, everything changes. Here's something no one tells you. Emotional manipulation is not about power. It's about fear. Fear of abandonment. Fear of being exposed. Fear of losing relevance. That's why control is often subtle instead of aggressive. The manipulator isn't confident. They're strategic. They test limits quietly. They gather information when you feel safe. They remember your wounds, your insecurities, your triggers, not to heal them, to navigate around them later. This is why manipulation often feels personal, because it is. It's tailored, but this also means it has a weakness. Once you stop reacting emotionally, the strategy collapses. Control requires response. Silence, clarity, and consistency disrupt it completely. And that's where self-defense begins, not with confrontation, but with awareness. Awareness starts with observing patterns instead of moments. Anyone can have a bad day. Anyone can say the wrong thing once. Manipulation reveals itself in repetition. The same confusion, the same guilt, the same exhaustion after interactions. Ask yourself one question: do I feel more like myself around this person, or less? Your body often knows before your mind accepts it. Tight chest, restlessness, mental fog. These aren't flaws, they're feedback. When you stop explaining away these signals, clarity returns fast. You don't need proof. You don't need to convince anyone. You need to trust what happens to you consistently. That trust is what manipulators quietly dismantle first. And rebuilding it is the most powerful move you can make. Detachment is the antidote manipulators fear most. Not anger, not arguments. Detachment. When you stop over-explaining, they lose leverage. When you stop chasing emotional closure, they lose control. This doesn't mean becoming cold or cruel. It means becoming solid, predictable, grounded. You respond instead of react. You pause instead of rush. You let silence exist without filling it with justification. At first, this feels uncomfortable because you've been trained to manage other people's emotions. But watch what happens. The dynamic shifts. Either the relationship becomes healthier, or it reveals its true nature. Both outcomes are wins. And once you experience that shift, you'll never unsee manipulation again. The final step is what turns awareness into strength. Strength comes from alignment. Your words, actions, and boundaries matching consistently. Manipulators rely on confusion. Clarity starves them. You don't need dramatic exits or emotional speeches. Simple statements, calm tone, repeated behavior. This doesn't work for me. I'm not available for that. No explanations, no debates. Over time, this rewires your nervous system. You stop feeling guilty for self-respect. You stop mistaking chaos for connection. And something unexpected happens. You attract healthier people. People who don't need control to feel secure. People who don't test you to feel powerful. That shift feels quiet, but it's life-changing. And it leads to one final realization you need to hear. Here's the truth that resolves everything. You don't need to expose manipulators to win. You just need to stop participating in the pattern. Emotional self-defense is not about becoming harder. It's about becoming clearer. The moment you trust your perceptions, honor your boundaries, and choose consistency over intensity, manipulation loses its grip. You were never weak. You were receptive. And now, you're informed. Use this knowledge to protect your energy, not poison your heart. Stay observant. Stay grounded. And remember, anyone who benefits from your confusion will fear your clarity. If this helped you see something you couldn't explain before, share it with someone who needs it. Awareness spreads faster than control ever could. 1,000 characters.